Welcome back to the latest installment of Plate Stack Chat, where we chat around the plate stack about popular topics in the CrossFit world and beyond. As always, we have the swole, the flexy, Jason Croxon.
Right. I honestly didn't know which one you were going to pick at that point.
No. We've got the new dad strength, Tom Forder, and we have myself, the burpee ninja, La Roche. So today we are talking about the British Weightlifting Championships, the CrossFit Open equipment list, and then we're going to open up to all comers. We are, in fact, live on YouTube right now. If you are listening on the podcast, it is amazing to have you listening as well. Do come join us live Wednesdays, 8 p.m. British time. If you're abroad, then yeah, log into YouTube, Plate Stack Chat. But tonight we have none other than the British weightlifting champion in the 59 kilo women's category, the truly breathtaking Miss Freya Morrow.
Hi.
Hello.
The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ.
There we go. Do you get intro music these days to like weightlifting competitions? Because if you don't, that's your intro music right there.
No, and everyone brings it up, and everyone says, "What would be your intro music if it was like boxing and you had one?" I was like, "I had no idea," but everyone thinks it should be a thing.
Tom, everyone's been stealing your question, mate.
That's where it started. To be honest, Sam has left me almost speechless, which is an achievement in itself. Almost as big an achievement as Freya at the weekend. But congratulations, Freya. It's great to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you'll notice, Freya, that there are comments that are going to come up here and then and now and about.
Right.
Okay, so that was Connor Kemp. Hi, Connor. Just dropping in. He's obviously tuned in this evening just to see you. You might have met or seen Connor around. He does a bit of weightlifting here, there, and everywhere. I think he's in like the under 16s team, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. There we go.
I mean, and after that clear description, Freya, if you don't know, I don't know how.
Yeah.
How you could.
Yeah.
Take us away, Sam. Come on.
Well. To be honest, that's all I got. That's all I got. Freya, it's wonderful to have you here. It's been great. See you later. No, joke. So you were in Derby for the British Weightlifting Championships. Your Instagram handle, I'm not gonna lie, it's not true, is it?
Not right now.
Not right now. You know, put on a bit of weight, or whatever.
To be fair, I am only like 55 kilos, 20% of the year. So
okay.
Yeah.
What like you're more, less?
I'm always more.
Oh.
I just compete at 55, so
am I. There you go. If I were 55 kilos for 20% of the year, goodness me, I'd be tiny. I think my arm probably weighs 55 kilos.
Oh, I think another fun fact we should throw out about Freya being on as our first guest on the live episode is that Freya was also our first guest host on the podcast proper as was. So we've kept that tradition alive. Coincidentally, you also did very well this weekend at weightlifting, but I like to feel it's because we wanted to keep you kind of having that special privilege of always trialing the waters of what it's like to be on the podcast.
That's fair enough.
I just heard my voice come back through the screen, which was...
Yeah, I did too. I don't quite know what that is, but we'll go with it.
Someone's got YouTube open.
How did you find the kind of the lead up to the champs this time around? Because were there any last year?
We had a British Championships in July or June. It was in the summer anyway, but there were no spectators allowed. So it was literally just all the athletes competing. So they weren't an atmosphere or anything, but it gave us a chance just to get back on a platform after everything that happened.
Is that the one where you would have won every category? Or was that the European? No, that wasn't the Europeans.
don't
There was
know.
one where like you lifted enough that you would have won like all of the women's categories and some of the men's as well.
I think it was that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Just checking. Just checking.
It's just very humble. Oh,
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it was that one.
Because you're just focusing on your category. How you were in the 59 kilo weight class this time though. So like,
Yes.
how was that? Was that like, did that add extra like nerves in or anything? Or
Not really. So I don't really get fully nervous for competitions anyway. And every single competition I do, I feel the same, whether it's like a small competition or an international competition. I get the same amount of pressure put on me no matter what. And I don't know if it's just because of like how big I am within British weightlifting. Every single competition you go to, you feel like you're expected to do well, no matter how big or small the competition is. But going as a 59, I really liked it because I didn't have to cut, so I just got to eat.
I was going to say probably you were less nervous, particularly around the time of the weigh-in, where you're normally going, I've got to get down to 55.
Yeah, well, you say that. 2 days before, I was like over 59, and I was like, oh, maybe I've just overdone it.
It all worked out in the end.
But, yeah, it was fine.
Well, my question was going to be to you that, like, do you not get nervous because you just feel like you're probably just going to win anyway? You're like, well, if I'm not in the 59, I'll probably just go up to the next one and then whatever.
No, I don't think that. When I was in the 59 class, the other two girls who got the medals, their lifting is really good, and we're like all close to each other. So all it had to do was take one of us to miss a lift. But won by a kilo, so it's all.
Well, and that's the thing is like, regardless of how good you might be, or people might perceive you might be relative to the rest of the field in your weight class, you all are served with the same 6 opportunities to lift. Yeah. And so it's, you didn't go, I don't think you went 6 from 6, right? So that's a sign, right? That you are having to peak, you are having to kind of like push the envelope, even if, your numbers on paper might put you in a strong position. It's about executing on the day, right?
Yeah. So there was me and another girl called Jess. We, like, from looking at the start list and stuff, it was going to be us that was battling for first and second anyway. And when we got to the competition, after we'd done our weigh-in, the rest of the class went into the like warm-up area where you warm up before you go onto the platform. And me and Jess actually ended up sharing a warm-up platform together. So that has never happened in a competition whatsoever. You just don't share platforms. So the fact that I was sharing a platform with a girl that I was trying to beat.
Right.
Did
so
you just
how
go
much
from
gaming went in at this point? Yeah.
empty barbell to 4 reds straight away.
But luckily, because it did work out, because we were lifting around the same numbers, our warm-ups were basically the same anyway. But when you're trying to beat someone, because she is a friend as well, you've kind of got to like forget that you're friends, forget that when you train together, you can have a laugh, you can mess about a little bit. You just have to forget about all that and actually think, no, we're at the British Championships now. Whereas I think if we would have had separate platforms, it would have been a lot better for us. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, it was us two that got stuck on the same platform together. I don't think anyone else shared a platform, so don't know how that happened.
So you said that was Jess Gordon-Brown, is that right? Yeah, so I'm looking there. So you went 84, she went 85, right?
Yeah.
And then you missed 87 and she missed 89. So you were both like, you were both down to your last lift. So it must have been exciting. Like say, as a friend, like, you can kind of hopefully still find the excitement in that, not just the kind of like, the nerves.
It was the clean and jerks that were the most exciting, like being the person lifting, but also people who were watching as well. It must have been exciting for them because it was literally one of us needed to not miss. So Jess missed her 109, which meant that she had to try and do it again. So I was in the back and my coach was like, we're just going to sit and wait, see what happens. If she gets this lift, we're going to have to stick 112 on to win. If she doesn't get this lift, we can just go out on whatever you want to. So it was like for that 2 minutes, it was just like a waiting game to see what was happening, what I was doing next.
That is the, when you're saying about like there not being spectators the year before, and then this time there could be in the atmosphere. And I think that we spoke about it way back when you came on the podcast last time about that kind of the thought process in picking the weights that you're going to lift and depending on what other people are doing and those last minute changes. And, for us that we're predominantly watching like CrossFit events, the way they do the lifting is always maybe a little bit different for different events. And sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really bad, but it's very often kind of, they've maybe already had to declare a weight or they're having to go with specific set weights. But we kind of really enjoy when they go more, I don't know, I'd say classic Olympic lifting, and you get to see them making those last minute decisions, or someone saying, well, I can, they missed a lift, so actually I can do what I want now. I've got this wrapped up. So I think it's understandable for our point of view, like what the atmosphere must be like at the event itself. And actually, I don't know about you, Tom, but my Instagram feed was blowing up all over the weekend with people that I follow because of CrossFit, because I've met them at various competitions around the UK, or just interact with them for some reason online. And I was surprised how many people were there competing that I didn't realize that they were, I know them mainly as a CrossFitter. And then I was like, CrossFitter, we're not allowed to use that word, CrossFitter, but doesn't exist apparently.
CrossFit athlete is what you would do. Is what you would use. So it dilutes the nature of CrossFit and the branding, because CrossFitter is not right. I think we talked about this last week or maybe the week before, but it's not good. CrossFitter is not a good thing to write on your CV if you want to go and work for CrossFit, for example.
Good to know.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a small lesson in IP infringement, but I want to echo, Jason, what you said there. I didn't have to seek out like stories around the British Weightlifting Champs, which is awesome to see. And actually, before kind of talking more broadly, I'm going to give a specific shout out to Sean Peters, who was in your weight class, Freya. So she's someone that I follow. I know she's I think affiliated to Army Weightlifting, but I'm not sure which box she's at, or CrossFit affiliate. But she's, again, and I think that's one of the things definitely is when I say seeing stories, it is majority, I'd say, like females. Now, and Freya, you may have seen that there's been such an great transfer of kind of like maybe especially women getting into weightlifting through CrossFit and then specializing even further, or not even necessarily fully specializing, but being able to apply their skill and their strength into weightlifting competitions, sometimes as high as the British Championships. But even beyond that, you look at someone like Taylor Howe, who kind of competed at the Commonwealth Games, I believe. But I think it's awesome to see that, and I think especially for kind of like women in sport, competing in sport, that must be really good to see for someone like yourself who competes kind of in that, to see the ranks really well bolstered by those coming from other sports as well.
Yeah, definitely. I came from CrossFit, so I fully support CrossFitters going to the British Championships. And if CrossFitters can qualify for the British Championships, then why not do it? Why would you not take that opportunity?
Yes, if CrossFitters can.
Sorry, not CrossFitters.
No, this is my point.
This is not this. Don't worry. Honestly, it's. We love it, right? We want to be all like CrossFit PC and good about it, but Jason doesn't. Mm-hmm. Some of us almost have to a little bit.
Yeah. Some of us used to teach English, and we just feel that like the natural way a language functions should be applied to a company as well. And let's not start talking about sanctional instead of sanctionals and back when that was a thing. But
Yeah, but a couple of notes and things that jumped out for me, talking like, and I'm CrossFitters, whatever. So like Emma McCready in the 87 kilo weight class came third. I met her. She was a member at CrossFit Bath when I used to be at CrossFit Bath, Jason. And then Sarah Wiltshire, who won that division. I know she used to be at like New Wave CrossFit, I think. So, definitely there's plenty of examples. Nicholas Diddard, Blackheath Weightlifting Club is, I believe, also CrossFit Blackheath, and she's the kind of owner and coach there. Yeah. So there's loads of examples.
Predominantly female, as you've just mentioned.
Yeah. There were a number, and there's a friend of mine actually at the gym I train at. He competed in the Masters 40 to 44 division. He did really well. I think he came first there in the 80 79 kilo weight class. I'm not sure, but anyway, and he regularly dabbles in that. He's been down to Lakeside weightlifting as well and things like that. So he definitely kind of he's a very proficient weightlifter and does it alongside his like CrossFit training. Although I do think he has to work hard on the kind of making weight, right? Which I know we've already touched on that.
Yeah.
So a lot more women, I think, than men kind of making it onto competition floor at that kind of like national championship level.
Yes.
And we have to quickly shout out to Mary Carmen, who is watching from Mexico. And
oh wow,
later than ever, but who is also the one that is has insisted that we have a plate stack chat leaderboard for the Open this year. So yes, look forward to seeing us at the bottom of that.
That's a question for you, Freya Morrow. Are you doing the CrossFit Open?
No.
What? Okay, that's not the answer that I want. The answer is yes, Sam. And you can join. You can put whatever box you like.
I have a better answer.
Go on.
I have to focus on winning the Commonwealth Games first.
I think that's
a good answer.
Pretty good answer. Yeah, as answers go, pretty good.
That was going to be my reason for not doing the Open this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They don't have donut eating in the Commonwealth Games, but they took it out.
It would be good.
Yeah. But before we move on to the Open, I do want to touch more on one other kind of male lifter that was there that's very well known within the kind of a CrossFit space and more broadly than that is like Craig Ritchie of Team Ritchie fame.
So that was Craig Ritchie.
So yeah, and I think he did really well in the I want to say like 89 kilo class. Kind of think he won, right? I'm really interested. Well, I mean, he's there a lot, but there's been a fair few reels. But I'm up to be corrected if I'm wrong. But I guess one of the things I'm really interested in is, like, say, Freya, I've already mentioned there that there's a lot of women coming into weightlifting from CrossFit, less so from on the male side, perhaps because the strength differential between, say, like if you're being a generalist that is typically needed for CrossFit versus, say, weightlifting, you've got to add a significant amount, perhaps, to kind of like be able to compete at your weight class. Now there are going to be kind of outliers to that, so anyone can tell me otherwise. I'm unhappy for that. But I guess was that quite like? I mean, how close knit is the British weightlifting community, and was it quite a spectacle to have someone like kind of Craig, who is, for want of a better word, he's a YouTuber, right? He's crazy number of followers and influence, right? So what's that
celebrity? Maybe you'll be on I'm a celebrity, get me out of it. Could you imagine? That'd be brilliant.
In the grand scheme of things, he's a minnow, right? He's a big fish in a small pond in terms of CrossFit, right? But he's still a big fish, and I think British weightlifting is probably pretty small. So was there quite a kind of spectacle to someone like Craig really moving across and doing so well, or has he been kind of like, I mean, he's been training hard, so he's, there under merit, right?
I don't know. So okay, I'll be honest. I didn't know who he was. So it was
That's fine.
It was only it was actually Jordan, my boyfriend, that told me that he was going to the British. And I was like, who? And then he said, he's like a YouTuber and stuff. But then I saw that a few of the other lifters, I think they coach him. They was in the warm-up area with him. But it has helped. It has helped British weightlifting because of his name that he's got and coming and winning the British. But I think Weightlifting House put a YouTube video up, and the comments aren't the best.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. So but when something happens, you're always going to get good things and bad things come from it anyway. So
yeah. I mean, like, it's great for spotlighting the sport, right? And if you know he brings more people to CrossFit, if he can bring more people to weightlifting as well, then fair play. And you know, he's a strong guy, and you know, well, as a non-specialist in weightlifting, I think he looks like he lifts well. And he's worked closely with, I don't know how closely, but he's worked with Sarah Davies, and he's also worked with Chris Murray as well. Chris Murray's been down at I think CrossFit Lacemakers where Craig is based. So you know, he's made connections within the community, and you know, has really put some focus into it. So it'll be exciting to see how much further he takes it. One thing I couldn't get though from it, and this is looking at the scorecard there, is like, and it goes back to what we talked about earlier about the number. You've only got 6 lifts. Is that like it isn't necessarily the person on paper who's strongest who necessarily wins. And I don't know enough about the sport to be able to kind of make that call. Need to go listen into kind of Sinclair debate, I think, right, to really understand that. But obviously you've only got those 6 lifts. He didn't make all his lifts, but neither did others as well. So, you know, it's kind of like that best lifter on the day, which is perhaps a little bit different to kind of like what we might do in other sports, where it's kind of like progressive and like you've got multiple opportunities to prove yourself across multiple events or whatever. So no, it's really interesting, and that's to not diminish the achievement, but it equally recognizes that it's about the best lifter on the day at that specific competition.
Literally anything can happen on the day. And I think the difference between weightlifting and maybe other sports, or maybe not, because I don't know about other sports, but British weightlifting is quite close within Britain. Take British weightlifting out of Britain, and we, especially for the males, rank to the bottom. So the numbers that we're lifting in Britain aren't as high of a standard as the other countries. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I saw that as one of the comments that was sort of put out about his lifts were kind of like, oh yeah, he did really well for Britain, but then they kind of threw that up in comparison to other parts of the world and were like, you're still at the bottom.
Which you shouldn't do, because winning a British title, you've got a title to your name. Do you know what I mean? But then I think you also have to think you do have to work extremely hard to even make an international competition, never mind medal at an international competition. And that goes for males and females. It's not as easy as people probably think it is.
So on my final question on weightlifting, then, you mentioned your reason for not doing the Open, which is what we're going to talk about. which is what we're going to talk about next. And you've mentioned it. You're not going to do the CrossFit Open is because you're going to be preparing for the Commonwealth Games.
Yes.
Did you say?
So
is that you going to qualify for the squad, or you're in the squad and it's about getting ready for where is it? Birmingham, Glasgow this year?
Birmingham this year.
Yeah.
That's a bit naff, isn't it, really? Like, of all the places it could have been in the Commonwealth, Birmingham.
Guess where the last one was?
It was, well, you won, didn't you? It was,
I didn't win,
no, you came third. No, you didn't. Sorry, you came third.
I didn't come third. No, I didn't. You're just making it worse.
No, I was looking at this earlier. You were the first person not on the podium. We get it. Like, you won the rest of the field.
Yeah, you won the runner-ups.
Yeah. You beat everyone who wasn't on the podium. Like, come on, what more do you want with that?
I mean, I like that Sam's default for you phrase. Oh yeah, that one you won. That's just he just assumes you've won, and then you have to say,
no, I didn't. That was Australia, though.
That was it.
Gold Coast, right?
Gold Coast.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what, I mean,
different.
Birmingham's closer. You're not going to end up like 14 days quarantining in a hotel before you're allowed to live. True. So I wouldn't complain.
Yeah. Oh, you'll just end up quarantining when you get home.
Good times. How exciting. Well, if it's in Birmingham, maybe I'll make the trip up and watch. When is it?
August.
Okay, Cool.
Oh, plenty of time
we
to
haven't
prepare a
finished-
plate stack chat live from
Yeah.
Birmingham.
We haven't finished the qualification period yet, so
Okay.
it's not official that anyone's going yet.
But China aren't in the Commonwealth, so it's highly likely that you will qualify.
Yeah.
And you've got a chance of winning if none of the Chinese athletes turn up, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's why we have the Commonwealth Games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm ranked 3rd at the minute.
Are
so
you?
yeah,
Good stuff.
higher than last time, so that's good.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Excellent.
Let's go.
Birmingham in August then. And I know friend of the show and videographer extraordinaire Sophie, just doing this now, who's listening in right now, undoubtedly will be there with a camera.
With Oi Sam, it's the second city. I'd assume that's Birmingham.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Cool. Can we talk the Open? I'm excited to talk about the Open.
Are you?
Yeah. Is that what
Are
we're
you
talking about?
actually?
Let's talk about the Open.
I haven't
wanna
signed
talk
up
about-
yet, though. I will just put that out there.
Yeah, I haven't
So-
signed up yet.
Did you want to find out what was on the kit list before?
Nah. Well, no. It's about when, not if, for me. Although I must say, having seen the kit list now, I am eyeing up a 22.5 kilo dumbbell for the home gym because I don't have one. So
What do you mean by kit list?
Well,
so-
Freya.
Thank you, Freya. You should join us more often.
So, Freya, they have released all the equipment that will be needed in order for you to complete the 3 weeks
okay.
of the Open.
I imagine they don't need a kit list for weightlifting. It's pretty consistent.
What do I need on my
Barbell,
kit list?
plates, platform,
That's it.
some
Onesie.
lights to put up so that we can see it
Onesie.
vividly.
Can I wear my unicorn onesie?
Only if it's tight fitting.
All right. I'm married.
That's not where the horn's supposed to be.
I
The
know
unicorn
that.
onesie.
And I know your boyfriend quite well nowadays.
Oh, dear. So anyway, so given that CrossFit is constantly varied functional movement, and especially given that I think a lot of places have continued to see restrictions either in gyms or people actually are now like, you know what, I train at home. One of the things they've done, at least in the recent years, maybe they did it previously, but I just never paid attention, is they've released a kit list so that beforehand, both individuals, but probably also affiliate owners can work out what kit they need to have available to either themselves to compete or for their members to be able to throw down Friday night lights or whenever they might want to. So it's CrossFit bucking the trend and actually being forthcoming with information and helping people prepare ahead of time for the beginning of the CrossFit Games season, which gets the hype going when there's still a couple of weeks to go.
So, do we want to mention what's on the list, or do we want to mention what's not on the list? Because I'm very excited by what's not on the list.
Is that because you're like 5'3"?
So, no.
Let's run through what's on the list for the
Okay,
RX and Scout athletes. They're on. If you're on the podcast and I've just put up the list, we'll go through it. If you wanna see it, then go see us on YouTube. You can subscribe. You can click the bell so you get little alerts when we go live. I mean, it's every Wednesday at 8 p.m. GMT, but whatever. Jace, take it away.
Oh,
This
am I
is the
going for a
RX
list?
and scaled athletes.
Okay, yeah, okay, we'll do both then. So dumbbells, just one is required. So are we doing male, female? So it's the standard dumbbell weight, right? The 22.5 for the men, which is 50 pounds, and for the women is a
35 pound dumbbell, 15 kilo.
Yeah. And then it's slightly lighter for the scaled and the teen division and the over 55s. Barbell, bumper plates, a box for standard 24 20-inch box.
One of the key things, though, actually, I will say, and you said it's standard box, but actually what they've said is there needs to be at least a 15-inch by 15-inch square top to it, because there are a number of different boxes that people will use. Sometimes they'll use more of like a trapezoid type one, where it's quite. I've always hated those. I would never want to do box jumps, and it's not because I've got flippers for feet. I mean, I've got pretty small feet, but I just want a good landing space. I'm not SpaceX. I need like a good old landing area just to kind of like hope for the best.
Landing area.
Yeah, pull up bar once again, jump rope, wall space. So that eliminates me doing it at home because there is no wall space in this house. And then is that the only page you've got? So
That's
I know.
I think.
Yeah. So the only thing is on the image that they released, you've got rings, but they are for the adaptive.
That is,
division.
one set of rings.
And so what's not on the list? Wall balls, brilliant.
Yeah.
So no equipment like rower, bike, anything like that. So which is
maybe I will join in.
Yeah.
Right,
well, there you go.
Freya, there's a good chance there could be something like freestanding handstand, like shoulder taps or something like that. They were in the equipment free version last year. So something like that,
You would
in which case
crush
you would
that.
destroy it. What I do find funny about the list is you could literally do last year's Open again. So it was double unders wall walks was the first workout. So you've got your rope, you've got your wall space. Then it was the snatches and burpee box jump overs was the second workout. So we've got a box, we've got the single dumbbell, and then it was the front squat, like toes to bar thrusters, front squat, chest to bar thrusters, and then muscle up on the final section, followed by that barbell complex that was like a clean, hang clean, jerk, something. I can't remember exactly what the complex was.
Deadlift, clean, hang clean, jerk. Yeah, a nice.
I actually did that last year. That was the only part of it that I did.
Yeah.
Would you'd be one of these people? You always get this barbell specialist that comes in for the Open, logs a single score, wins the, and then I think they're kind of like, you know, the mafia at the top just kind of go, we're not including them.
We're not.
Or what they do is they now do it as a part A and a part B, being like, you're not going to come in and do like a 200 kilo clean and jerk if you then can't do the minimum work requirement of like, I don't know, some box jumps and burpees or something.
Yeah.
Oh, so Sophie just threw up an interesting point. I was thinking that too, actually, is that you'd think they would have put the kg equivalent on the sheet because they said it was international. And I thought that was something they were planning to do. I thought they'd actually said that this year they were going to include everything written in kilograms as well. But wasn't on the equipment list.
It's normally in like a subtext. So I imagine if you go to, you know, games.crossfit.com and actually go to the article where that kind of imagery is, there'll probably be somewhere written in like small italics, kind of like what the standard kind of like metric equivalents are, which is kind of like Jason Rochelle saying your dinner's ready. But, like, you know, so I do think like they've always provided a metric equivalent. Now it's maybe a shame that they've forgotten that they were maybe going to try and insert it into the kind of like the main body of the graphics and stuff like that. But whilst it would be helpful for the international community, it would undoubtedly be very confusing for the US centric community. And you'd get people doing kind of, rather than doing a 50-pound dumbbell, they're doing a 22.5-pound dumbbell, and then be like,
that sounds like a them problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, you know, it's quite a US centric sport still, so them is often the kind of like the first bit. But you know, we'll see.
Well,
we'll see.
Chicken and the egg. Is it a US centric sport because the rest of the world isn't getting involved, or is it a US centric sport because they keep refusing to put kilograms on their weight lists? And
literally everybody else in the world
there are
uses kilograms
in the world.
Everybody, yeah.
Although we're here in the UK, we do like to kind of hybrid it a bit, right? In that we use like kilos, but we use miles, and we, you know, so
yeah.
There we go.
All right, Tom. Always diluting our argument, aren't you? You can't help yourself.
I just sit on the fence.
Well, I'm not sad about there not being wall balls.
Oh, I'm overjoyed by the fact that there's.
But there weren't wall balls last year.
No. Well, that's
So
what I'm saying. This is very similar to last year. There wasn't any equipment like rowers or bikes or anything again last year because the majority were doing it in a state of lockdown. And they've kind of it looks like they're rolling with a similar thought process, maybe.
I think the other thing to remember, and Freya, just to kind of make sure, I don't know whether you picked up on this last year within the season, but it was the first time we had quarterfinals, which meant that we had this 3-week Open, and then we had this kind of like weekend for the individuals at quarterfinals. So it was the top 10% and the top 20. top 10% of teams, or top 25% of teams anyway, like the upper echelons of the leaderboard progressed to the next stage, which was this new version called quarterfinals, still done at your local affiliate. It wasn't like heading off to regionals or anything. But what we're going to undoubtedly see, and maybe this is what we're going to start seeing, is very kind of like accessible movements, kind of stuff that's not intimidating, to some degree lower skill, through the majority of the first 3 weeks of the Open, and then things kind of like the rower and GHDs, rope climbs, rings for RX athletes coming in coming in at quarterfinal stage.
Mary Carmen, like a dagger in my back, has just commented that they use pounds for CrossFit as well. Oh no. I
was going to make some comment about Mexico, but I don't feel like I don't feel like I can.
I don't feel you should either.
No, well, that's where I'm going with this. Basically, I think everybody in Mexico is amazing, and it's unfortunate that you use pounds. Yeah. You probably should use kilos.
Sam doesn't want to get shadow banned again.
Yeah, the piece of equipment that I'm probably most glad isn't on the list, and actually I thought was on the list, and then I looked carefully and sort of wasn't, were the rings. And that's just because I haven't done a ring muscle up. I've done a strict ring muscle up some years ago when I was 10 kilos lighter, and I'm at that stage where I'm kind of close, but I've had this shoulder issue, and I do not want to throw myself and have to catch in that position. A bar muscle up, there's a bar that will stop me. So I'm not falling through that. I'm hitting the bar. That's fine. But the ring, if you kind of don't catch it right, or if my shoulder goes, then I'm just going through the rings. And I literally had a conversation with someone a few days before that list had been released, and I was like, I mean, if it shows up in the Open, I will go for it, but I really don't want to. And so the fact that there's no rings, I'm like, oh god, I've got a whole nother year just to kind of
there is an argument
in that position.
There is an argument that bar muscle ups might not be in there because it says a pull-up bar that allows for all common hanging movements and kipping.
Yeah.
Now, but I would say that a hanging movement, a bar muscle up, is not a hanging movement.
No, but
you don't hang your washing above the line. Do you know what I mean?
I would assume that means you need a bar that is high enough that you can fully hang, and that has enough space enabling you, or is stable enough enabling you to kip, which you may need to do if you were to, for example, do a bar muscle up. So I would reason with it that way, because otherwise you also would take out any kind of pull up if you're saying anything that goes above the bar. So that would mean only toes to bar, really. Or some new movement.
Chester bar, you would argue would be fine, because that is you're still essentially below the bar. Like, you're not gonna
your head's
a muscle up, but not necessarily. You could touch your chest on the bar without your head being very far. I mean, you've seen CrossFit athletes do that, not CrossFitters. I deliberately had to check myself then.
CrossFitters make sure they make proper contact and their head is well above the bar.
Yeah. But what I mean is they could have been more forthcoming with that information. Like, they could have said you need space above the bar.
I mean, that is true. That is true, because
I mean, to solve clarity, you might need space above the bar at the least.
Yeah.
Because what if I just put up a pull-up bar now and it's like a foot from the roof, and I'm like, well, that's not going to work for me. It said hanging from.
Well, and that was a problem that a lot of people raised last year when they had the progression across the pull-up bar from toes to bar, chest to bar, and then bar muscle ups. And a lot of people who were working at home then maybe had like a pull-up bar in their garage, but even if you've got like a 7-foot ceiling, like, that's not going to give you enough clearance to be able to kind of safely try and do a bar muscle up.
It's all right for some of us. Freya knows what I mean. There's some of us that we're not worried about the height above the bar.
No, I've actually met Freya in person these days, and I nearly missed her. I walked past. No,
I just walked straight under you.
Yeah, that was it. But to be fair, you were standing next to Jordan. He's not small, is he?
No.
And I walked past and I was like, "Oh, hey, you're you know, oh, there you are." But yeah, I can vouch. Freya is, you're not the tallest person on the planet.
No.
But that's really good for weightlifting.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Not so much for wall balls that won't be in the open.
No.
Or rowing, which won't be in the open.
Yeah.
Or the assault bike that won't be in the open. Or the Rogue Echo bike that
Rogue
will not
Echo
be in
bike.
the open.
We at my gym just got those this week, and like it's a new way to kill you. They don't work like your standard assault bike. They just don't. You have to really think about your cadence rather than just going hammer and tongs at this thing, because it doesn't work like that.
There we go.
I'm not. I mean, I don't know if we've never had an assault air bike in the open. We have had a rower, because there's still, although they had the assault rower at Wadapalooza, but Concept 2 rower is still the unequivocal kind of like go-to erg. But I think they wouldn't necessarily introduce an assault air bike. Well, they wouldn't introduce an assault air bike. They've introduced the Rogue Echo bike now. I think it's too early in that kind of like the preferred bike of choice for them to kind of start mandating, especially with kind of supply chain issues still continuing for, across many different segments, not just fitness equipment. It would be pretty disruptive to kind of put like a high value specific item into any of the first two stages, both the open and the quarterfinals.
I was doing a bit of a looking around about what has been and what might be in the open. Fortunately, the morning chalk up, the lads have done a nice little spreadsheet for us. I know you love a spreadsheet, Tom, but they've done a nice little spreadsheet for us that we're showing now, but we'll talk you through it if you're on the podcast, and we'll post the link. It's on the Morning Chalk Up site. It's really easy to find. But yeah, toes to bar. Every single year there have been toes to bar in the open, which I thought was good. Although when you look at this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 11 categories, and the total they've put is 10. So I haven't quite worked that out yet. But we're whatever. Maybe it's 10 years because 2 of them were in 1 year, weren't they? But it's kind of weird like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, toes to bar and double unders have been in every single, and thrusters in some form have been in every single open since the first one.
Do you want to hear a wild prediction on the double unders?
Go on.
And this is not from me, but shout out to our good friend Craig. We were talking the other day at the box. Craig is convinced this is the year of the triple under.
Okay.
And the triple under has been programmed on main site a number of times this year. And one of the things they always say is if you're paying attention to what they're programming on main site, that's always a good. Wall walks were being programmed on main site. Nobody was doing them. And then everybody had to do wall walks in the open, and they weren't ready for it.
Gonna finally say goodbye to my Achilles.
After he said this, I did try a triple under immediately after this conversation. Didn't go well.
Did you have to jump higher or what?
Yeah, I mean, I got it in the sense of like I got high enough and I kind of got the rotations, and then I just like lost it on the landing. Like I just kicked the rope kind of as it would have been coming almost to then go up for the next jump, if that makes sense. But it is, just jump. It's like it's that thing of jumping a bit higher, whipping your wrists one more time, and trying to remember to do those two things.
And jump again after.
And then immediately jump again after. That was it. I was so concentrated on like getting one that you don't like your brain just switches like this is what I must do, and then you land and you're like, oh yeah, and you probably should have jumped again. So and I think as well, because with double unders, like the thing I've always been told about double unders, like don't think about them, just like look straight ahead, look at something and just kind of start going. And you kind of zone out, right? You're just counting, basically. And so being so active in thinking about how to do it is like a detriment. You undo kind of all the natural. It's a bit like, when we talk about the the movement standards, right? Like, you know, when we say like, oh, they changed a slight thing on the movement standard of like a medicine ball clean or something like that. And it's just that kind of messing people up because they're not thinking in the right way. I think it's a bit like that. You're just so used to doing something a certain way, and now
But
you
I
need
guess
to do
that's
it a
what
different way.
would have been like learning how to just double under anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just having to then learn the next stage of it.
Yeah. But where do we end, Freya? Oh, because this is the problem. Some people that are very good at CrossFit, they just keep pushing that envelope a little bit too far. I think we need to have a meeting and just tell some people, look, just chill.
Wait for us to catch up.
Yeah.
I've just put 50 double unders together. There's no way I'm getting any triple unders. Do you know what I mean?
But it would be one of those things
I worked really hard on that.
If that was the case and you got one, that would like propel you up the leaderboard so much.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching an interesting video from WOD Prep today, and they were talking about like the 5 things that you like almost will have to do, or 5 things that will really serve you well in the open, and they basically and these are the things that will just shoot you up the leaderboard. So like a muscle up. So if you've got a bar muscle up, they'll be then normally sort of at the end of a workout. So you get normally what happens is people do the rest of the workout, they get to that and they're like, I have a bar muscle up. No, okay, well, I'll just spend the next 6 minutes trying to get a bar muscle up. Whereas if you've got 1 or 2 or 3, then you're good. That's going to push you like thousands of places up the leaderboard, which would be cool. Double unders again is another one. I mean, triple unders. They didn't go into that, but I mean, Craig McCurrion knows his stuff. Like, he's a bit of a stato as well, isn't he? He loves a stat. The video was that good. I can't remember what the others were. Kipping pull-ups. If you can link pull-ups together, obviously that slams you.
Yeah, I think with any of the gymnastic movements, as soon as you can do them kind of like linked together, it allows you to get through such a larger volume, because a lot, getting up there, getting your first toes to bar, right? But if you're doing those as singles, because not only are they slower, but you lose so much energy kind of like, flopping back down and having to kind of try and control that. You're actually sometimes better to hit, right? The standard, I believe, is start with your heels behind the bar and then touch both feet at the same time between your hands at the top. The best thing to do then is, if you're on singles, is just to drop down rather than like waste energy trying to control yourself. But obviously that's slower. But yeah, if you can kind of cycle gymnastic movements efficiently, that's great. But then the thing you've got to do, and this is what I'm not good at, is hanging on the bar for too long and absolutely gassing yourself like the first 2 minutes of a 20-minute EMOM.
The interesting. I will post the. In fact, I'll find it and I'll post the link in the comments. I forgot that you can do that now. But what he was saying is you can use 2 boxes. So you can stand on 2 boxes behind the bar and then let yourself drop through for your first kip.
All right.
That is a legal, you are allowed to do that in the open.
Ben's very good at like reading the rules and knowing kind of all the little things you can do, and he generally puts out a video before each open workout with like, look, this is what you need to do if you want to save some energy and you want to and actually, like to Tom's point of like single, I did an open workout that had loads of toes to bar and I did them all as singles, but did them in a very literally with like, actually it was Armin Hammer's video actually that I watched and copied his way of doing it, and I had the bar that was just the perfect height that I could literally jump into my first toes to bar, drop down, and then just turn around and jump back and do it. Like, so I was changing direction each rep, and it just meant I could keep going without stopping. And that was much quicker than if I'd done like 5 and then dropped and looked at the bar for 10 minutes and then jumped up to try and do another 2 or whatever.
Annoyingly, Freya, I imagine you've got all of these movements in the locker and you just can't be asked to do the open. That's like pretty much how it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm focusing on the Commonwealth.
Commonwealth Games.
I think all the gymnastics movements in CrossFit, I can do them. And I think because I did them in gymnastics, I don't have to do them for like a couple of months and then I can just jump on a bar and whack some muscle ups out. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
No,
Freya,
I
you'll
don't
be
know what
happy
you
to
mean.
know that I have signed up for my first gymnastics class on
Oh,
Friday.
you'll
tots.
love it.
So I'm
Yeah.
You'll love it. You'll get
um,
so obsessed.
So as my daughter is now enrolled in this gymnastics school near my house, they also do adult classes. So I was like,
Amazing.
all right, there I go.
Yeah.
So I'll be there on Friday, everybody. Come along if you're local.
What, to spectate or
No,
what?
to get involved.
Oh,
I mean,
I was
if
gonna
you're
say, like,
listening to
come
this,
along,
they're probably
I'll
doing
be
it,
a-
right? Come
I'll be
along.
a champion. Yeah, to
Let's
be
do it
fair,
together.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play. Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to that Open. Really looking forward to that Open. You know, I've
Well, I would put it out here now then, Sam, as we know we want to do live episodes during the Open, obviously, but it would be good actually to do an episode before the Open begins, talking about the best way to approach Open workouts, the importance of like the standards and making sure you're not getting no reps. Sophie has just left a nice comment. Oh, praying for my back as I speak. So you know what? That's I'll be fine. Don't worry.
I assume that's a gymnastics reference
Yes,
that you
I
don't
think so.
die in the gymnastics in the gym.
Yeah. Well, I'll be all right. Don't worry. If you never see me again on Plate Sec Chat, you know why. But we're going to
It's
assume
crash
it's fine.
mats. You'll be fine.
Brett, I walked in today. I took my daughter and I went on the floor, and it's like the kind of springy floor.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I was just
love
like,
that so much.
oh, I reckon I could do a backflip on this. Do you remember when we had the conversation about if you could do a 30-inch box jump, you can do a
You
backflip?
could do a backflip.
And then I was standing there just going, I reckon I could do a backflip on
Well,
this.
it'll be so they'll tell you off because that technically what you're talking about is a back somersault, a back flip. You'd put your hands down. You'll get told off if you call it a somersault or flip, and vice versa. Because
I'll do both. Don't worry about it.
Is that like doing a power clean and things like that? And a squat clean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Oh dear.
I mean,
but
that was funny.
Doing an episode where maybe we just talk about the way to attack Open workouts, like all the little tips and tricks that we've picked up over the years of doing the Open, and then maybe the importance of the standard and making sure you're not getting no reps. And maybe this might sound controversial and crazy. Maybe make sure you're not getting no reps in your training in the lead up to the Open, and not just when you're being judged, because I don't know. I've seen a few videos recently, guys. And
pointing the finger at me.
Weightlifting as well.
What was that, Fred?
I feel like that can go for weightlifters as well.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You're just calling out the weightlifting community, right? Like, this is
But I mean,
awkward, isn't it?
I'd say, when it comes to kind of like, being a stickler for good form, weightlifting is another league above kind of CrossFit. When we're doing, a clean and jerk can sometimes be interchangeable with ground to overhead any which way. Just please don't injure yourself. Maybe show some control at the top, but don't hang around.
Yeah,
There's
there is not the
there's no such
phrase
thing as
counts in weightlifting, is there? Counts in CrossFit is a very real thing. But...
Yeah. We don't need a down signal in CrossFit either. So there we go. Oh no, it'd be good. And I think it'd be really cool on the run up to the Open to kind of talk more about kind of like, we've all done the Open a number of times, so we can have a chat about our experiences there. Maybe if anyone else who's even more experienced than us wants to come on and talk about it, that I'm sure both us and the community would appreciate that. Yeah. I'm going to add another quick shout out for anyone who's a real athletic being aspiring for the top of the leaderboard. I've just written an article which you can get, which will be on the Chalking Fitness Instagram page probably next week. But is available already if you get the Chalking Fitness newsletter, because there's a nice link in that to looking at. So we talked about kind of 17 point. We talked about 22.21.2, which is a repeat of 17.1. So maybe we could get a three-peat and see that making an appearance this year. But that's I think a really good test of like aerobic capacity. So I broke down how the top 2,000 on the UK men's side did in that. And I've done the same on the women's side. And then I also looked at the barbell complex. Sitting at the top would have been Freya Morrow, but she didn't do it.
Well, do you know what? When Freya turns up to a competition, this is what you'll hear.
I came here to drink milk and kick ass. And I've just finished my milk.
Do you drink milk? I mean, does that go well with donuts?
Oh, shocker. What, you don't drink milk?
No, I don't like it.
You don't? Right.
I like milkshakes. Just
Do you
not
like milk, though?
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, let's move well on from my milkshake. One last thing I would like to say about the Open and the kit stuff, and just generally about the Open, is that it is well, there are conversations that I've had with people about the fact that it is not driving people to affiliates. This particular kit list, this particular the way judging is working now, the fact that it doesn't have to be signed off by an affiliate owner. You just have to have someone with a judges course. So you essentially, my wife could go and do a CrossFit judges certificate and then judge me at home, right? So you know, and you don't even have to submit it via video. You don't have to do video submissions either. Yeah. As far as they're the conversations that I've had, that is the correct way of doing it. Which seems to be, you could argue that it's taking people away from affiliates.
I don't think it is at all. I think if anything, it's kind of going to inspire people to go to affiliates. They maybe won't go for the Open, but let's not forget that the Open is seeking to be the biggest fitness competition in the world. I think, I don't know what exactly the tagline is, but they want it to be one of the biggest kind of competitions in the world, and so they need to try and make it as inclusive as possible. Now, I think some of the things they've done with judging this year are more recognizing that people necessarily can't get to an affiliate even if they wanted to. But I think for like, you know, you could kind of say like, oh, they're you know, it's taking people away from affiliates. But if someone is like, oh, I don't need to go to an affiliate anymore to do the CrossFit Open, I'm like, I don't think they wouldn't have gone to an affiliate anyway. I don't think kind of being able to do the Open at home is the killer decision maker between them like going and joining their local affiliate and not.
No, but on the other hand, though, you could argue that say my wife did the judges score. Now I know that there are people who have cheated on that judges certification, right? I know it. I'm not going to say who it is, but I know that. yeah, we do it all the time. No, but I know that there are people that have cheated, right? So that automatically that takes out some element of that within it, you know, the actual credibility of it, but then you have, like, if you're, I mean, it's a bit pedantic, but if you care about your Open score, like we were talking about it with Gavin Ian, right? You care about your Open score, where you come in the Open, and if my wife was counting for me and then was just counting essentially rather than judging me, then I'm going to shoot up that leaderboard. And like, not that it should care. I don't think anyone who is going to progress necessarily is going to be necessarily doing that. But it might mean, you know, it costs to enter, so you want it to be fair. And
I think you would have. I think we've had the same problems every year anyway. Even in affiliates around the world, there are people that are just signing off that that's what they did, and it's probably not correct. And I imagine the requirements when you submit your score for quarterfinals will be a lot more stringent and will be, you know, at that level things will be checked.
They will, but it's not. At least at an affiliate, at least the affiliate, I mean, it's supposed to it's supposed to be working in the same direction as CrossFit. If John and Jenny went to Pure Gym and did their, or Globo Gym or whatever gym, or in their back garden and did their Open, and then just picked a score and went, yeah, that's what we did, then they're one more than me, and that puts me down a place. Do you know what I mean? I don't particularly care that much, but it's the principle. It's the principle of fairness.
I know a few gyms that are basically CrossFit boxers, but they haven't got the CrossFit affiliate name to them. So would that mean that?
Don't name them. But that's the point.
Does it not bring more? Will it not bring more people into the games, or are you saying they shouldn't be allowed to compete because they haven't got the CrossFit affiliate to them? Because like in weightlifting, I haven't got a weightlifting box that I'm affiliated to with British Weightlifting. I've just got a coach. So when it asks you who's your coach, who's your British weightlifting affiliate, I can't fill it in, but that doesn't put anything against me.
No, and it's not the individual that I have that I don't really have that much of an issue. It's more of a talking point, if you will.
Yeah.
But it's what is frustrating me, and I not to the point where I'm going to not do the Open, because I will still do the Open. But what frustrates me is the fairness of it. And I don't care what gym you go. I genuinely don't care what gym you go to. I think the best option is to have an affiliate owner who is affiliated to CrossFit, signing off people's scores. I think that is, or you filming yourself and posting it and having whoever does the scoring in that.
Judging it.
I would say though, at the games, at the what should be the pinnacle of competitive CrossFit, the CrossFit Games, we see judging errors all the time. So even though they are there, they still miscounting double unders or miscounting reps, things like that. So in the grand scheme of things, your position on the leaderboard will probably never be 100% correct anyway.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll tell you, Sam, because last year the way I did it was by submitting a video and having it validated online. I do believe it's by exception. So if you submit a video, your score is valid. It's only if someone decides to watch it. And I don't think anyone ever got down to 60,000 to watch the videos. They didn't have enough time. And the other thing I'd say, and I think this is the blind assumption. This is the blind assumption that just because an affiliate owner is signing off on the score doesn't necessarily make it more fair, because they haven't judged. Yes, they're signing to say that they agree that has been judged well. And, if it's been done in the Friday Night Lights, hopefully they'll have briefed everyone that is judging, made sure they've all got their level one, made sure they've all got their judges qualification and that they understand the key performance points, but how often that happens at the end of the day, and Jason's already pointed out, you get judging errors at the pinnacle of the sport. You're going to get 10-fold, 100-fold judging errors as you go down. So I agree that, maybe on paper, having your affiliate owner validate the score serves the affiliate model, but I don't think we should assume that suddenly makes it a lot fairer. The same errors will come through regardless. It may be, and, I've, having dug into the stats board a lot, looking at the top scores for workouts, and you go, who's this person? And they're not competing in an affiliate, don't know anything about them. That doesn't necessarily diminish their fitness. They've had to put the work in. Now, you could then be like, do I believe their video? Now, you have to make sure you're not just being biased there, because it doesn't say kind of, CrossFit on the wall.
CrossFit, whatever. Yeah, no. And I get that. And as I say, this isn't a dig at. I have a load of digs at people who are using the CrossFit. They're using the methodology to make money, who aren't affiliated, because that's against the law as far as I'm aware. You're allowed to do the methodology, but you're not allowed to make money out of it, right? That's the deal. But that's a different category and different kettle of fish. But if the pinnacle of the sport, if someone does the wrong judging, like I'm going to a competition at the weekend, right? If someone is caught judging wrong, then they will go to the head judge and say, or there's a process, right? Everyone is paid to do the Open. Otherwise, we just make it free and everyone do it. And it's the biggest mass partition event because it's then free and it's essentially devalued. There's not going to be, we do what we always have done on the chat. We talk around it and never really get anywhere. I don't feel mega strongly about it.
But what is really nice is occasionally, it doesn't happen very often, but just occasionally, Tom jumps down off that fence and picks a side. And I tell you what, when that happens, it's so nice.
I found something that Tom is avidly passionate about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in a situation, so I know what you're saying. You don't have a beef with the individual, but you're maybe, and it's a whole other discussion around kind of like facilities that aren't affiliated but are essentially like offering CrossFit, but don't then penalize the individual for the choice of a business. And unless you're saying, well, that individual needs to kind of like pack up their training kit and drive however far to their nearest affiliate, and that's the price for doing the Open.
And more than likely, the individual probably ain't got a clue. if the box is affiliated or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Until
that's
they
the
ask
thing.
the owner. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
We are definitely not the kind of middle of the
Yeah.
bell curve here. We're pretty much outliers in that, like, I think the majority of people wouldn't be able to tell you if their gym was affiliated. They'd be able to tell you what it's called because that's how they get to it, but they wouldn't necessarily know the ins and outs of whether there's an affiliation behind it or not. So, I Sam, I get what you mean. There's not an individual beef here, but then the issue then is that maybe one of the things you're saying there is that CrossFit should say, if you want to take part in the CrossFit Open, you have to be a CrossFit affiliate, and then it just become quite excluding to a lot of people.
Selling the judges course, on the other hand, is another source of revenue for the games, isn't it? So making it that more people can do it as long as they pay. So you pay once to enter the Open, and you pay again so maybe it's you and your buddy, and you both pay to enter the Open, and you both pay to do the judges course so that you can judge each other. Doubled your revenue like that, haven't you? So maybe, I mean, this would sound crazy, right? Conspiracy theories, but maybe it's again CrossFit just trying to make a little bit more money. I know that they don't do that, but
and I think that's enough on that topic for this week. I'm going to make like Snoopy and get back on that fence. Oh no, it's not a fence. It's a fence. It's a dog.
It's a shed, mate. Yeah, it's a kennel. It's a shed. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. That's fair. Well, I'm looking forward to the Open again because I'm in 3 different places. In fact, I'm in 2 different countries for different parts of the Open. First week I'm at my gym. Second week I'm at CrossFit Glasgow, and the third week I'm at WIT, which is gonna be amazing for Friday Night Lights. All 3 of those, which is gonna be mint. So if you're about and you want to drop into any of those, come see us. Come see me and whoever else is there.
What are you doing
Freya,
in Glasgow?
You gonna be there? MCing at Glasgow.
Ah.
For Friday Night Lights. Yeah, I'll be there Friday night, Saturday, and then fly home Sunday.
And I am assuming, as Sam is the only one of us that has officially signed up for the Open so far, he has probably already gone in and made the Plate Stack Chat leaderboard. So make sure
I
you signed
haven't
up
done
for the
that
Open
because I have no idea how to do it.
All right. Well,
if it was easy, I'll do it.
In that case, as soon as I sign up, guys, I'll let you know that the leaderboard is live. But jump in on that, and Sam's been even throwing out wild things like maybe prizes. So who knows? Let's.
I'm trying.
Promises.
I'm working hard on the prizes. I really want some Mergs, bright pink, Freya Morrow knee sleeves
with the white stripe down the side.
Yeah, exactly. Signature from a British champion, future Commonwealth champion, future Olympic champion,
European.
Yeah, all right, and European champion. It's just a future champion of the world, of the universe.
Yeah, this is all written on.
multiverse.
This is all written on the knee sleeve, so they're actually more like neoprene leggings, just like that.
Morrow,
Like,
champion of the multiverse.
2 foot long, just to fit it all on.
If only Freya's legs were that long. Yeah. Well, thank you, Freya, so much for coming on Plate Stack Chat this evening. It has been incredible to have you. Congratulations on your win everywhere, and your 4th place at the last Commonwealth Games. But whatever, you came best of the rest. That's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah.
I still want those knee sleeves, by the way, for the prize.
I'll see what I can do.
Cheers, sweetheart. So we're drawing this to a close now. Thank you guys so much, all the guys that have been in the chat. It's been great. If you're listening to on podcast, thank you again for joining us. We will see. Well, we're going to be releasing this on
tomorrow morning. Yeah, or if you're listening on the podcast now while you're listening to
right now. Do come and follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, and ding the bell so that you get notifications. Do sign up for Tom's newsletter. I have read it already today, and it is very good. I'm not even lying either. I have actually read it.
Checks in the post. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, I have actually read it. I came through my email right today.
Excellent.
So go, Chalk and Fitness. If you want to go and see what ridiculous amount of weight Freya's playing around with at the moment, 120 kilo jerk in the bag. You can see her at Freya 55 kg, which happens to be a lie, but that's okay. Jason's CF Media. Go and check out Jason. And I'm LaRoche Original. That's about it. You can find us on plate.stack.chat on the gram. Yeah, go and sign up for the Open, games.crossfit.com. Go and do your judges course, all that kind of stuff. Thank you very much.
Tell them Sam sent you.
Yeah, tell them. I've been Sam. You've been amazing. Thank you very much.